Hello, everyone. This is the macro update for the month of January. We will take you through the slides that we've prepared. Okay, so this shows the heat map for the macro variables that we've prepared based on data available. So we will broadly take into consideration the five factors that constitute the GDP, which is consumption, investments, government accounts, foreign trade. And we have a couple of other variables in general category, which indirectly impacts the macro as a whole.
Yeah. So coming on the consumption side if we taken into the consideration of all the data points that we have, it looks like green in picture for the variables that we have in for December and January. Let's start with the first one, GST collections. What we are seeing is GST collection is higher on an average in the current period as compared to the average for the last 12 months, and it's comparatively at a similar level, but it's at a increasing level. So for that reason, it has been turned into green, considering as a whole. Second is power generation. Power generation, we have it for the month of December. Power generation is comparatively higher than 12 months period. The current period growth for power generation is 19% on a year-on-year basis, while the average that we took in for the last 12 months were approximately 7%. So it's a very much 12% increase as compared to the average power generation that we have. Same line with petrol consumption and passenger vehicles. We have the data as of December 2022, and petrol consumption is higher growth from YOY and also higher than the average consumption that we had for the previous 12 months. But coming to passenger vehicle sales, there was a bit of a slowdown in the month of December. The growth has been negative on a YOY basis, while the average was at higher, and also the high growth what we see for the last 12 months was increased due to the pent up demand that we saw because of the COVID wave, post COVID reasons. The next is payroll. Payroll, we have it for the month of November. It's a bit lag of data that we are seeing for the basically a lag of 2 months period. And if we take payroll is which is something giving a data of what are the number of employees that have enrolled on the EPF. So what we are seeing is the current level is higher than the average 12 months period. So because of that reason, we have turned it into green. Credit growth as a whole, again a positive side. The disbursement for the month is very much higher as compared to the previous month. And the major growth that we are seeing in credit growth is coming from the service sector, while there has been a degrowth in the industrial sector. So taking consideration of 70% weight going to consumption in the GDP, overall it looks on a positive side, but one or two factors comes into the yellow side, basically where the consumption, the growth has been higher currently, but lesser than the 12 months period.
Right. So moving on to investments, which is basically investments into markets as well as foreign direct investments. We've seen that for FIIs and DIIs, for the month of January 2023, there was a outflow of around 8,000 crores. However, the average on an average, there used to be inflows of 10,000 crores per month. If we see only FIIs data, last 12 months, the average outflow for FIIs were around 12,000 crores per month. And historically, it has been positive at 6,000 crores per month. However, during the current month, which is January 2023, we've seen an outflow of around 41,000 crores for the month of Jan. Then looking at foreign direct investments, this data comes in once a quarter, and the latest data available for September 2022 reveals that there was an inflow of around 82,000 crores for the quarter ending September. So the growth of FDIs is at a declining trend. Then looking at government accounts, as December was the month of return filing and payment of income taxes, the inflows or tax revenue for the month of December was quite high at 3.3 lakh crores compared to 1.6 lakh crores for last 12 months. However, such increase is also such increase of 3.3 lakh crores is 6% year over year. That means the tax revenues for for the month of December 2022 was 6% higher compared to 2021. Then coming to fiscal deficit, even though tax receipts have been higher, fiscal deficit is increasing in terms of number. For the till December 2022, the fiscal deficit is at 54% of total receipts, which means for every 1 rupee of revenue that government earns, 1.5 rupees is being spent by the government. However, this number is comparatively less if we check it from a pre-COVID average of 110%.
So coming on to the next part, that is foreign trade. So we have three factors that we look into: exports, imports, and basically trade deficit. That is nothing but your exports minus import. So on an overall, foreign trade is on a neutral side, where we were seeing a major of the red signal coming from very long period, approximately 6-7 months. It has turned into yellow. Reason being, the cost have reduced and the crude oil cost has drastically reduced, so that has turned into yellow. But giving on a numbers perspective, exports have been lesser as compared to the average 12 months. Although it should be high, and so that's, but since it's a low, we have taken it to yellow. Imports is something which is similar to what we had for the previous 12 months, but again, on a month-on-month basis, it has been higher. So that's the reason it has been in yellow. And if we take in trade deficit has been higher than the previous 12 months, and it's approximately 80% higher compared to what we had in the previous 12 months. So overall, it has been on a yellow side for the foreign trade.
So looking at unemployment as a general unemployment and inflation as a general factor, we see unemployment to slow down compared to last 12 months, but it's still higher compared to the month of December. So we have given it a neutral rating, which is yellow. So currently the unemployment in India stands at 7.1%, where rural unemployment is 6.5 and urban has increased to 8.6%. Looking at inflation, current inflation for the month of December stands at 5.7%, whereas last 12 months average inflation was 6.5% by year over year basis. The highest contributor for inflation for the month of December were clothing and fuel, both ranging at around 9 to 11% respectively. Then the inflation has seen a decrease in the last 3 to 4 months and is currently at below the upper tolerance limit of RBI set at 6%, which gives a positive influence from this variable. Moving on to the summary of macro for the latest month data available. We'll wait for a couple of we will wait for 10 seconds for you to go through this slide. If you want, you can pause the video and look at it.
Yeah. So coming on to the conclusion that we have looked into from the various factors that we had in GDP variables. So on an overall, consumption has been green. There has been increase in consumption on all the factors other than one or two, where there has been on a YOY basis and also on a month-on-month basis. Coming to investments and is on a yellow side again, because there has been negative side for the last 1 month that 2 months that we are seeing, but the cash flows has still been positive. So that's the reason we have turned into yellow.
So government accounts, since we have higher revenues, but even though with higher revenues, fiscal deficit has been increasing, we have given it a red rating. In summary, tax revenues have been increasing, but fiscal deficit is widening consistently, even though it is lower than pre-COVID levels. Then looking at exports and imports, we have given it a neutral rating, which shows that the positive aspect of exports and imports currently is that dependence on non-oil imports have been decreasing, and oil imports have been coming down looking at its prices. However, the negative factor is that trade deficit is widening consistently, which means we are importing more than what we are exporting. then in summary, for a macro perspective for the month of December or January, we can say that most of the factors in consumptions are positive, and most of the other factors are in a neutral range. However, we can definitively say that the consumption is decreasing on an overall level.
So that's it on the macro side for the GDP variables. If you have any queries, you can reach out to us. Thank you.